Okay, well, I think we can go ahead and get started. We may have a few more folks who will be joining, but I really appreciate everyone carving this time out of your schedules to be with us this evening. My name is Charlie Stillwell, and I'm head of school at Episcopal, and we're absolutely thrilled that you could join us for this open house program this evening. We feel that Episcopal is a very special community for all kinds of ways. We love the fact that we're 100% boarding with all of us living here together, students and adults alike. And we also appreciate that we have this unique situation of being a residential community in this beautiful setting, but right outside our gates, having this remarkable classroom of the city of Washington to support our programming in so many different ways. I hope that our program this evening will begin to give you a better feel for Episcopal. Please know that there are so many people here who are ready to help you in any way we can learn as much about the school as possible. Tonight will be a great start, and we're happy to follow up with you as well. To kick things off tonight, I'm going to turn things over to our Director of Admissions, Scott Conklin, to talk a little bit more about how the evening will work. If everyone could mute themselves as they come into the meeting, that would be great. And so now, I really appreciate your being here, and I'm going to turn things over to Director of Admissions, Scott Conklin.
Great. Thanks, Charlie, and welcome everybody. We're excited for you to join us tonight. I'm going to just go through kind of the schedule and what to expect in the next hour and a half. But we're going to start with our student panel. So we have 9 students, and our dean, Ashley Taylor, who will be moderating that. So you have a great chance to hear from our students. And then we're going to let them head off to study hall at about 8:15. And at that point, we will have our faculty panel. So we have a group of faculty members that will talk about areas of our program. And then we'll finish the night with just some points about the application process and what to expect in this unique year. There are some changes to our process compared to some years. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Mrs. Taylor and our students.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Stillwell and Mr. Conklin. My name is Ashley Taylor. I'm the Dean of Students here, and I'm excited to help moderate a panel of a number of our amazing students. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to them. And guys, I'm going to ask you to start off by just introducing yourselves. So why don't you share your name, your grade, and where you're from? And then why don't you also tell everyone the year that you started at Episcopal and some of your interests here. So some of the things you're involved in, just so they know what types of questions you might be able to answer. All right, you guys can just go ahead and jump in, and I'll kick it to one of you if I need to.
Hi, everyone. My name is Caroline Bradford. I'm a senior here at Episcopal. I am from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and I came to Episcopal freshman year. Some things that I'm involved on campus is I love to play sports. So I play field hockey and squash. And additionally, I'm really into the publications on campus. Our student newspaper is the Chronicle, and also our literary magazine is the Daemon, and I'm involved in both of those. So, yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ben Condemi. I'm also a senior. My first year was last year. I came in as a new junior, and I come from Chantilly, Virginia, which is in Northern Virginia. My interests include sports, like Caroline. I'm a captain on the football team. I run track. I'm also on the swim team. Last year was our first year having a swim team, so that was a lot of fun. And in terms of leadership, I'm a monitor on the freshman dorm, Hummel dorm, and I'm on the honor council as well.
Hi, I'm Tabitha. I came in as a new junior last year, just like Ben. I'm from San Francisco, California, and I'm super into theater and photo. So if you want to talk to me about the arts, hit me up.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Thomas Schubert. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm currently a senior this year, and I came to Episcopal as a freshman. Like a lot of the other students have said, I'm really into sports at Episcopal. I play soccer and lacrosse. And I'm also a member of the Honor Council, and I'm a monitor on McGuire Dorm this year.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sammy. I'm a junior this year. I'm from New York, New York. I came here last year as a sophomore, and the things I'm involved in on campus is, as Gibert said before, lacrosse, basketball, and football.
Hi, all. I'm Atron. I'm from Seoul, South Korea, as she heard. And I am a junior, and I started off my freshman year. And some of my interests include, just like Tabitha, I do theater, and most of my clubs and leadership roles include diversity. So if you have any questions about that, I can answer it for you.
And hello, my name is Clay Saylor. I am from Haymarket, Virginia. I'm a senior this year, and I entered as a freshman. In regards to sports, I wrestle and I also run cross country. And some of my other interests is I'm honored to say I'll be serving as this year's head monitor, and I'm also the president of the Military Appreciation Club.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sophie Egan, and I'm from College Park, Georgia. I'm a senior this year at EHS, and I came as a freshman. This year, I'm participating in afternoon dance and concert choir. So my interests lie heavily in the arts. And additionally, I'm the co-president of the Black Student Association on campus here. So if you all are interested at all in any cultural clubs, just let me know.
Hi, my name's Peter Hood. I'm a senior and I'm from Middleburg, Virginia. I came to Episcopal as a freshman and I play tennis and squash here. I'm also the president of the government club and a member of the activities committee.
All right, awesome. Thank you, guys. So for those of you who are here tonight to learn a little bit more about Episcopal, now is your time to ask all your questions. So go ahead and use the chat feature. If you click on the little drop down arrow where it says everyone, you can also find my name, Ashley Taylor, if you want to send questions directly to me privately. That'll help me just kind of keep track of what people are wondering about, and we can get our students talking about what life is really like here. So don't be shy. Any question is fair game. And go ahead and start sending them my way. All right, we're going to start with a specific one. We heard some about sports. Is anyone here involved in volleyball? Anyone want to take a stab at sharing a little bit about the volleyball program? I might actually have us save that one for when our athletic directors are on in the next panel, since we don't have a volleyball player with us. But why don't we jump to a question about the weekends? This is a good one. So talk to us about what it looks like to be at boarding school and specifically at Episcopal on the weekends. Is there anyone who wants to kick us off with this?
I can take that one. So at boarding school specifically, obviously at Episcopal, one of our rules is that you can't have a car. So students generally rely on Uber to get around the surrounding area of Alexandria and Washington. Obviously this year it's a little different because of COVID, but just kind of talking generally, the school offers a lot of weekend activities through the activities program. We have trips to go into Old Town right down the street from campus. We have trips going into Georgetown, movies. Sometimes we have late night bowling and ice skating. So really the surrounding area of Alexandria offers a diverse opportunity of different activities that you can do. And really it's just a matter of a student getting a group of friends, finding a way to go, whether you want to go with a teacher that you're close with, or if you want to order an Uber with a couple friends, you can go out to dinner or go get lunch somewhere. But there's really a lot to do off campus. And then on campus, we've had a lot of things recently because we can't really leave campus. We had a little activities carnival this past weekend, kind of getting the entire student body together once we started lifting some of the COVID restrictions. And then also, usually some of the facilities like the athletic centers, so basketball courts, fields are open. Stewart Student Center has been really popular in the past with different games. Like we have a pool table and foosball and a little grill there where students can get food on the weekend generally. So there's a ton of things that you can do on the weekend. I rarely find myself sitting in my room twiddling my thumbs because there's always somewhere to be, something going on.
Awesome. Thanks, Gibert. Anyone else want to jump in about sort of their experience on the weekends here?
I'll just add really quickly. I think that a big part of Episcopal's culture on the weekend is attending each other's sporting events. And on any given weekend, we can find 3 to 4 different games going on. And this year, I'm actually honored to serve as a cheerleader, and we're in charge of myself and 15 other seniors are in charge of kind of making sure everyone's excited for the games and getting everyone out there. But that's a big thing that happens for all of us on the weekend is getting out and supporting our classmates during not only athletic events, but also productions and music events as well.
Thanks, Caroline. Anyone want to talk a little bit about the sort of coming in as a freshman? So why don't we start with that freshman experience? A series of questions here about sort of the schedule, the supports that are there for you on dorm as a new 9th grader, any advice you have for incoming 9th graders. Anyone want to kick us off?
I can start. So for me, I came in as a 9th grader, obviously, and one of the things that really helped me was the monitor program as well as the prefect program. So you're assigned a monitor, which is a senior, and they like tour you around campus and show you the basic stuff. But on your freshman floor, there's either 1 to 2 prefects, and those prefects kind of work as like to help the teachers who are on duty at night. But the connection you gain with them is like extremely strong because some of your monitors aren't always on your dorm. And also you get an advisor your freshman year and you talk to them throughout the summer. And for me, I had Miss Kim Senior, who's one of the people who works in admissions, and she was always there to help and answer questions, and she was really personable. So.
I'm wondering, are any of the monitors, Ben, you're on the 9th grade dorm this year. Do you want to talk a little bit from the other perspective of being a monitor on Hummel dorm and sort of what your role looks like in supporting our new 9th graders?
Definitely. Right. So I'm on Hummel dorm, which is the dorm that all freshman boys go to. We have a great new dorm leader in Mr. Lee. He also works in admissions. I don't know if you guys have gotten the chance to talk to him, but as a monitor on Hummel, I'm really just here to facilitate communication between the freshmen and administration and leadership on dorm, as well as just answer any questions and provide any help for really anything. I've had kids knock on my door to ask how to do some homework problems. I've had kids knock on my door to talk about how they're feeling, if they're feeling homesick, if they're having trouble with some kids on campus. And all of that's just the normal process of living away from home and learning how to be independent. And as a monitor and as prefects, our job is to just be there for all the incoming freshmen who need anything. We're here to serve the freshmen.
Thanks, Ben. Anyone want to talk about what study hall looks like? So sort of your evening routine on dorm, and it'd probably be great to also hit on kind of how that changes as you move from grade to grade, if anyone wants to get us started on this topic.
I can take that. So freshman year, study hall begins at 8 to 10. It's usually doors open, phones out. It's just a quiet, steady time in your room to get your homework done, get any work you need to get done or get ahead. From sophomore year, it stays the same, but you still can keep your phone. And another thing that changes throughout the years is that your usage in the get older, it provides more freedom.
Perfect. So it's been great to hear you guys talk about all of the things that you're involved in at Episcopal, from the arts to sports to leadership, school, all these different things that you're balancing. Getting some questions about sort of how do you balance all of that? All of that. What does your day look like? How are you able to take so much on? What skills are you learning to help you balance that?
I think one of the skills that we learn early on, just being at a 100% boarding school where we have commitments kind of everywhere, almost every day, it's important that we learn time management early on. And I know many people kind of struggle with it at first, especially if they're new to like a boarding school environment. So there's teachers there to support you, kind of like plan your day, or there's upperclassmen that kind of help with just like managing your time. Like if maybe you have a commitment that lines up with something else and you're like, well, which one should I choose? Which one has more prevalence? Which one's more important to me? You can kind of manage that with someone on dorm. Like I mentioned, you can really ask anyone to help you kind of navigate through certain commitments. But yeah, I think time management is one of the most important things that we kind of learn earlier on here. And there's always someone there to help you kind of get through that.
Kind of to go off of that, I saw a question in the chat that talked about different opportunities that we have to kind of help ourselves outside of the classroom. And I feel like a big part of that time management is at Episcopal, we learn how to use the resources that we're given. So like Sophie mentioned, there's always scheduled times when you can meet with your teachers. And at a small school like this, we're all very close with our teachers. We can text them, call them, email them, bump into them throughout the day. And you can schedule time to go meet with them if you're struggling. And then there are also different groups like the writing center, the tutoring centers. There's a language center. There are a bunch of different student organizations that you have access to help you with different fields of academics.
Thomas, that's awesome. I'm so glad you brought all of that up. And it kind of moves well into our next question, which is talking a little bit about the advisor program. So do you guys want to share, especially I imagine there are people on this call who aren't as familiar with boarding school or are looking at boarding school versus day school. So maybe talk a little bit about what that faculty advisor program looks like here at Episcopal.
Go ahead, Clay.
You got it, Tabitha. You got it.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say that your advisory is basically like a group of students that you're spending time with, I think, maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. But they're like your family. Like you can always reach out to your advisor and they'll be willing to help you with anything. And your fellow students too, like you can reach out to them about anything. And usually, if it wasn't like Corona this year, you would be eating meals with them and spending a lot of time with them. And I think that's super different to a day school because it feels a lot more like a family and you can feel super comfortable reaching out to that adult about whatever you may need.
Claire,
I'll just add
in too with whatever you were going to chime in and add.
Oh, yeah, just to add on to what Tabitha said, also the way the system itself works is freshman year, you're put into an advisory with people who are usually on your floor, and you're given a student advisor for that entire year. And then after freshman year, you have the option of choosing a different advisor, and you like get a list of teachers who you want to choose to be your advisor. And as Tabitha said, they like help you through the rest of your walk through Episcopal. And the amazing thing about the advisory system is because we are not like with our parents, your advisor can serve as that parental figure on campus along with many of the other faculty members.
All right, let's dive into the Washington program. So Mr. Stillwell mentioned for everyone in his opening remarks that, we're here on this closed and beautiful boarding school campus, but right outside our gates is Washington, D.C. Can you guys give us some specifics? So could you describe a specific Washington program experience that you've gone on through one of your classes that was particularly meaningful or impactful?
I can start. A lot of the time, the Washington program destinations have to do with the class that you're taking or the classes that you're taking at that time. So last fall, I was taking a human geography course, and my teacher, Mr. Phillips, took us into DC, and we visited the National Archives, and we got to see all kinds of different original maps and original texts that tied into what we were learning in the units that we were covering. So it was really, really good information. It was great to see firsthand some of the original documents that we were learning about in class, some of the original concepts. And DC being 10 minutes away is just an incredible resource. We go there like every week during normal circumstances, and it's just a great change of pace from regular boarding school life, and it's definitely a great resource.
And I also think that another thing that's really important about the Washington program, and I saw someone mention it in the chat, but in the May of Episcopal's seniors, their senior year, we were all given the opportunity to have an internship, either in DC or Alexandria, and it can be anything you really want. I mean, I think that it allows you to kind of see real world experience, but also you can pursue passions that you might even want to have a career in later in life. I know some people have even worked on Capitol Hill, but then other people worked at like a fire station in Alexandria. And the Washington program helps facilitate all of those opportunities. And I think that it's a great culmination to your time at Episcopal, kind of combining everything that you've learned and putting into a real world experience.
Awesome, Caroline. Thanks for snagging that question from the chat. Any other specific Washington program examples? Ben, that was a great one that you shared. Any other specifics that you guys could share with the crowd tonight so they get a sense of what it really looks like in practice?
For our summer reading, I want to say it was my sophomore year. We had a book that was staged in DC, specifically in the DuPont Circle area. And so our first Washington program for the year was every English class went to a specific area related to the book that they read, and they did a walking tour of that area. So we spent the entire summer reading and diving into this specific part of DC, and then we got to come back to campus and go to that area, see what it's actually like, look for different landmarks that were pointed out in the book, and get to kind of experience it through the lens of the characters in the reading.
Awesome. I'm going to stay on this for one more. Can I get one more student to give us sort of a specific example that brings that program to life for the students attending tonight?
I think that attending local theater productions was also really amazing. Like for some of my English classes, we used the Washington program to attend local theater, and that was really impressive.
Anyone want to talk about fences specifically?
I can do that. Last year, our summer reading for the whole school was Fences by August Wilson, and fortunately, it was getting staged on Ford's Theater nearby our school. So we had a chance, the whole school had a chance to go visit the theater and see it for ourselves. And it was an amazing experience. And that happens quite often as Washington programs. So.
All right, perfect, guys. We're going to move on here. Can you guys talk about what sets Episcopal apart? So if for someone, who's looking at a bunch of different schools, what was something that made you choose Episcopal? Or maybe you could even describe one of your favorite events or memories at Episcopal, something that kind of helps people see us in as separate from all the other peer schools.
I'll take this one. So Episcopal is a 100% boarding school. Usually other boarding schools will have day students and boarding students, but here at Episcopal is only 100% where everybody is boarding on campus. And that's really cool and important because it makes the campus, everybody on campus is like family. So everybody's closer and you get to know everybody. So it makes Episcopal that much cooler and make it feel like a second home.
Awesome, Sammy. Who else wants to hop in on this?
I can. I'd say another aspect that kind of sets us apart is something that we have called Chapel Talks. And it's basically a time where a member of the community, like faculty member, student, takes time in chapel to kind of share a personal experience, a story, something that they've gone through that they're comfortable sharing with the community. It's like an amazing time to really get to know something about a person who either you just don't know anything about, or maybe you did know them very well, but they've never actually shared this story with you. So it's just a nice place or a nice opportunity to, get to know more about someone. And it takes place in chapel, if I didn't mention that already, and on Fridays. So really love Chapel Talks.
That's a great one, Soph. All right, who else wants to hop in on this?
I'll just hop in really quickly and say I think that one thing that has been crucial to my time at Episcopal is the faculty and the connections that I've built with them. And a large part of this kind of comes from what Sammy was talking about, the sense that we are 100% boarding, and over 90% of our faculty actually lives on campus. And because of this, we not only are seeing them in the classroom, but a lot of them are coaches and a lot of them are on our dorm duty, and we see them on the weekends. And for me, it has been a really useful resource. Say if I have like a test or I'm struggling with something, even today, I did this. I can literally text or email one of my teachers, and within 5 minutes, I can meet with them and be right there. And instead of going through a process of being confused or not know what's going on, I can have an answer and, build that relationship with the teacher, but also that relationship isn't just in the classroom. It's like all throughout campus. And I think that that's really evident if you step on campus and experience a day in the life of a student.
Another thing that sets us apart is our honor code. We really prioritize our honor code here, which leads up to our close community and trusts.
All right, let's transition to the second half of that question, which is a favorite Episcopal event or tradition, sort of a moment or something that you look back on or get excited for.
For me, it would probably be the dorm games. So dorm games is basically where each dorm participates in like a competition of just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just amazing and fun. So that's what I look forward to. And hopefully this year we can do that again. So
Sammy, give us some examples. Like, what are some of the events that you do that are so fun?
So probably the funniest one is probably the pie competition, when you have a person from each dorm fill their face with pie so you can eat it the fastest. And another one is tug of war, which is like probably like the biggest one. McGuire won that last year. I was part of McGuire, so I have bragging rights. So,
Perfect. What's another great Episcopal tradition or event?
My favorite tradition or event is Headmaster's Holiday. We have this day in the spring when the day is really nice outside. Mr. Stillwell calls the day out of school, and we get to enjoy outside with our friends and just enjoy the day.
Esther, you want to share a little bit about how it's announced and kind of the craziness and excitement when you find out?
Yes, we don't find out till the day of the morning. We wake up to monitors posting up videos or posters of No School, and we just all get really excited for the day off.
One event that's like especially special to me is when Tom DeLuca, who's a hypnotist, comes to Episcopal. Specifically, how he so he usually it's like 12 or so seniors and like maybe 1 or 2 juniors who somehow sneak by, get hypnotized, and just seeing your classmates and like schoolmates do those things that are so extreme is like it just makes my year every time.
That's great, Peter. So that's one of our most popular weekend activities here on campus. So for some of you that are wondering what a weekend looks like, that's a Saturday night where the kids pack the auditorium and have a great time. Okay, let's shift to who has tried something new at Episcopal and actually discovered that it's a real passion of theirs.
I can take that. I started theater as a freshman, and I've just fallen in love, and now I'm even considering it as a major. So it's very possible you find your passion and try something new here.
I can attest to that as well. Freshman year, I came in certain that I was going to play football and play lacrosse, and I had no idea what I was going to do in the winter. And the monitor who was actually on my dorm freshman year, he encouraged me to try out for the wrestling team. And now wrestling is one of my favorite sports. It is my main sport. And I even dropped football and lacrosse to further pursue wrestling. And I hope to do that in college as well. So always being able to try something new is something that Episcopal really facilitates, and it helps you get out of your shell and figure out different parts of your personality.
I spoke a little bit about this earlier, but something that I really got involved in at Episcopal that I'd never been exposed to was both the newspaper here and our literary magazine. And I'm going to be honest, before I came here, I absolutely hated English. It was my least favorite subject. I never wanted anything to do with it. But then sophomore year, one of my friends dragged me to a Damon meeting, which is the literary magazine, and I fell in love with it. We read student submissions that are anonymous, and we vote on them and talk about them. And in the end, we put together a magazine, and this year I'm an editor of the magazine, and I am really looking forward to getting started. And also, the newspaper, The Chronicle, has become one of my other passions, and sometimes the topics are serious, but also sometimes they're very, very funny. We get students to write, spotlight articles, and sometimes faculty will even chime in, but it's a great way to communicate to the student body. And, when Parents Weekend happens, we distribute issues, or Woodbury Weekend, and it's always funny to see how people react.
I guess just another example here. When I joined choir my sophomore year, I never expected to kind of have such an amazing experience. And I think what even kind of set it even way above the standards I was kind of looking for was the opportunity to go on a choir tour to London. And this was definitely a once in a lifetime kind of experience for me. It was my first time in London, and we were able to sing at 3 different cathedrals, eat a bunch of really good food, and just spend time getting to know people of the choir. Our choir director, Mr. Erstad, he was very, very trustworthy of us and gave us some free time to kind of explore the cities that we kind of visited, and to buy some trinkets and things like that. So it was a really unique experience, and I don't think I would have ever had that opportunity had I not joined choir.
That is actually a perfect segue into questions about trips, trips abroad. Have any of you participated? Sophie, that was a great example of the choir trip. Anyone else have any examples of trips that they've participated in? Could be a service trip, could be a language immersion trip, any of those that you want to speak to?
Sophomore year, I actually had the privilege of going to Costa Rica with 4 other students from Episcopal, and we were able to work at the laboratories there and create our own experiments with the professors. And it was really interesting because our main focus was to figure out how to find antibiotics for the arms race they called against viruses that we're a part of now. And it was just really interesting to be able to have a real life experience outside of the classroom with biology and seeing it firsthand.
Okay, I'm not sure we've had another student do one of the trips, but it would be great for that question to maybe come up with our faculty panel as well. Might be able to give the full breakdown of the trips that are offered so that people know what would be available.
Mrs. Taylor, one of our challenges this past summer, obviously with COVID-19, is we were not able to do a number of our trips. So some of these students who would have done trips, sadly, that was a difficulty for the school.
Yes, that's a great point. But it would be great to have faculty sort of speak to all the things that we do offer, because those are amazing opportunities that are connected through Episcopal. Okay, how about community? How would you guys describe the community here?
As stated before, Episcopal is 100% boarding school, so everybody here is close and loving. It's basically like one big family here. Everybody loves each other, and that's what I love about Episcopal. It's like my second home.
I would say also the community is super welcoming. I came in as a new junior, and I also came in 3 weeks late because of special circumstances. And I was super duper nervous coming in because I had already missed orientation and everything. But everyone was super welcoming. Everyone showed me where my classes were, and I was able to make friends really quickly. And I was really impressed by the community and how nice everyone was.
Clay, I'm going to put you on the spot as head monitor man. Tell us about community. Tell us about community meeting. How about that? And tell us what you do there.
A community meeting is a place where we are able to meet once a week, and it is open for anyone who has an announcement or something they would like to share with the community, whether it be about a club event they're hosting or maybe like a party they're trying to have or something like that. It's also open to faculties to speak, and it's just one of the many other ways that our community gets together alongside chapel. And the other thing about our community is that the size of it, I think, is absolutely perfect because it's not too small, but it's also not too big where you can recognize everyone you walk by. You can stop and have a whole conversation in between class with anyone to ask them how their day is going.
All right, and why don't we speak a little bit to, we talked earlier about the 9th grade program, but we do have some students here who came in as 10th and 11th graders. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about the experience of being a new student who didn't come in as a 9th grader?
I can start. And this kind of feeds off of what Clay is saying about community. What I notice now, looking back at my first months and my first year at Episcopal, is that I didn't really have to try too hard to find friends or to fit in. It sort of just happens. And so my recommendation for any incoming student is, like, you don't have to feel the pressure. You don't have to feel nervous if you're going to fit in. I was coming into last year, I was probably an introverted kid. I didn't really put myself out there, and when I got to Episcopal, I was instantly comfortable. I mean, everybody started waving. Everybody was interested in learning who you are and where you come from, and that just sort of made it seamless transition into community life. And you quickly find a group of friends, and definitely living together, like Sammy says, and playing sports together and eating together and everything. That just pretty much makes it seamless, and you really don't have to put too much effort into finding your spot and your group on campus.
Tabitha, you kind of spoke to that already. Sammy, anything you would want to add about being a new sophomore and how that experience kicked off for you?
Yeah, so one mistake I made coming as a new sophomore, I was really nervous about asking questions and asking for help. My advice to all new students coming in as a sophomore, freshman, or junior is don't be afraid to ask help. Episcopal is a great community where you could just ask for help, and everybody wants to help. And that's one key thing that I learned here at Episcopal. It was very easy to adapt to the school's norms and stuff like that.
Sammy, that was actually a perfect answer because we're going to segue into what are some of the supports here at Episcopal when you're new? This is a home away from home. We're a very diverse community. If you struggle with homesickness or finding students who identify as you do, what are some of the supports that we have here for students away from home?
I could talk about that one. So I feel like for students who are coming in right off the bat, once they arrive on campus, you're highly engaged with the monitors, and for the freshmen, also the prefects. These people are kind of keeping you, or they're kind of getting you acquainted to the campus, what it's like to live at Episcopal, what it's like to go through the school day and play sports. So you're getting to meet your advisory and an upperclassman through that system. So you're getting close with the people on your floor, the people who you're with in your advisory, just a smaller group of the people in your grade. And then also on top of that, throughout the school day, you're meeting people through your classes. When you're going to sports, you're seeing people in the locker room, you're seeing people on the field. And like Sammy said, everyone in the community always wants to help. It's there. No one ever will be asked a question and not really try to help, even if they don't know the answer. Everyone wants to help you find a person to hang out with. They want to help you find your way, what time something starts, or where community events happening. So I feel like just the community in general, once you get to campus as a new student, everyone kind of blends in to help you feel welcomed to the new place that you're moving into.
Anyone else want to take this one? Some of the supports in place when you move far away from home?
For me, when I came as a freshman, I was on the varsity field hockey team, and I think that the girls on the team almost acted as like big sisters to me, which was really helpful. And a lot of these afternoon option groups serve the same way, and those students are always willing to help, not even just with school things, but socially. And it would always be nice to just see someone in the hallway that would say hi to you. So I think that the afternoon option aspect has really kind of also expanded the people that I know here.
And in regards to diversity, we also have our equity and inclusion program, which you can go to seek help. We also have a multitude of clubs on campus, like the BSA, which is the Black Student Association. We have the GSA, which is the Gender and Sexuality Alliance. And then we also have these things called affinity groups, where you just go and you have dinner with the people who you identify with. So we have a Black Boy affinity group, which I'm a part of, and we go and like we eat food and we just like talk, and like it's a really good way to have that home away from home feeling that if you feel like you're missing or that you need to catch up on to. Episcopal does a great job of making sure that everyone in the community feels welcomed and loved.
Awesome. Clay, thanks so much for jumping in with those resources as well. I am mindful of the time and that our current students are in the thick of an academic week with a full homework load to get to. So just want to thank you students for joining us tonight. And I want to thank the people who are here learning about Episcopal. So many amazing questions in the chat, and I know we were not able to get to all of them. But after this, there is a faculty panel, so feel free to ask some of those questions of our faculty members as well. And with that, we will kick it back to Mr. Conklin.
Great. Thank you, Mrs. Taylor, and all the students. Great job. There was a lot of questions coming through, and I appreciate you responding to as many of them as you could get to. There will be an opportunity in just a few minutes for our faculty to answer a lot of those questions. So keep them coming in. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lucy Goldstein, who will moderate our faculty panel.
Great. Thank you, Scott. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Lucy Goldstein. I am actually a member of the class of 97 and am excited that there are several of my classmates on this call tonight. So excited that you're here and that all of you are here this evening. I am the Dean of Faculty here at Episcopal. I teach English and also coach squash and serve as an advisor. I've been a dorm parent for a long time. Currently, right now, I work as one of the deans on call, so help supervise campus in the evenings. And we're really excited that all of you are here this evening to help introduce you to some of our faculty members who run some of our amazing programs so that you can ask them all the great questions that you have. So at this point, I will ask Nate Ebel to introduce himself, and then we will go through our panelists. They'll all introduce themselves, and then we'll get a chance to get to your questions. So Nate?
Thank you, Lucy. And great, there are the slides. Hello, everyone. My name is Nate Ebel, and I am the Dean of Academic Affairs. I have been at Episcopal for 12 years now, and I've done a little bit of everything here. I teach English. I have coached JV football. I've coached JV basketball, done track. I lived on dorm for my first 10 years, 3 different dorms, in fact. And so I have a pretty good view of life here at Episcopal, and am currently, as I said, the Dean of Academic Affairs. And in terms of the academic program here, just to give you kind of an overview, it's hard to sort of capture all that we do and all that we offer. But what I would say in talking about or thinking about the academic program at Episcopal is that it's a very balanced program. And so you have these amazing classroom teachers and these amazing academic experiences in the classroom. But then you also have these trips out into DC. You have experts coming to campus from DC. You have all these amazing opportunities to take your learning out into the real world. And so as Caroline mentioned in the student panel, that sort of is highlighted at the end of the senior year when all of our students do externships, and they sort of take what they've learned and they go out into the world and they pursue something that they're really and truly interested in. And then another area where we are fairly balanced, in the first 2 years here, students are taking sort of core classes. They're sort of 5 core subjects, and with students coming from all over the world, we are engaging in different classes, but sort of getting everyone on the same page. And it's a fairly common and core curriculum. But then as we move into the junior and senior year, students have a lot of choice. And we have over 140 different courses, and students start to branch out and choose the electives that they want to take in whatever area that they are interested in. And so those students are always sort of following those core courses through the curriculum. In their junior and senior years, they have a lot of amazing options, whether that's 3D modeling or history of the Cold War, all these different courses, trial advocacy, these amazing courses that utilize our amazing faculty here on campus, but then also take advantage of the resources of DC as well. And the last thing that I would say about the sort of balance in the program is just that it's an academic culture that values both academic achievement and also character. And so I think if you were to ask any of the kids what the academic culture or ethos is on campus, they would say that it is rigorous, that they work really hard. But I think they would also say that it's not competitive and that it's a sort of collaborative effort. And we all know that we're all in this together and working hard and learning together. So that is a sort of overview. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you all have later. And I am actually going to pass it back to Ms. Goldstein, who's going to talk about student life.
Great, thanks, Nate. Next slide. Thank you. I am standing in tonight for our assistant head of School for Student Life, Doug Dixon. He has an overview of all of our student life, and I'm just going to walk through some of the pieces that we think makes Episcopal a really caring and wonderful place for kids to grow up. One of the hallmarks of our experience here is really close and caring relationships between students and faculty. And that is exemplified through our advisory program, through our amazing dorm programs and life. All of our faculty members are involved in our residential program in some way. So not only will you see your teachers in class, but you'll also see them in the dorms in the evening. You'll see them as your advisors, and you'll see them on the athletic fields as well. And you'll hear more about that from our athletic directors, as well as our other afternoon options. We do have a fully supported medical center, health center, that's open 24/7. We have an amazing school doctor who lives here on campus, and she is supported by a wonderful staff of nurses. So that is a fully covered program. So, I did see a question in the chat, what happens if there's a late night emergency? There's always someone in our health center, and our dorm parents will make sure you get to the right place if there is something that goes wrong in the middle of the night. We have an amazing afternoon option program, athletics, arts, science, and outdoors, as well as service. And we have a full counseling staff. We know that people come in with a variety of needs or develop needs to see a counselor at a time here. And we have plenty of people who are able to help with that. We have an amazing activities program. Every weekend, there is a huge variety of options for our kids to take part in, sometimes on campus, sometimes off campus. Right now, in this sort of COVID world, we're a little more focused on campus, but usually we are out and about in DC and Alexandria all the time, taking amazing trips and taking advantage of the cultural opportunities out there. Dorm life, as you know, we're 100% boarding, and so all of our students live here on campus. We are really focused on making sure those dorm residences feel like home. Again, with the really committed faculty members who live in the dorms, who work in the dorms, and also the programs that we provide for dorm life, as well as just the amazing opportunity to live with peers at this sort of young age, really important age as you grow up as a teenager. We have great food options here. We have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, obviously, offered in our dining hall. We have snack options, and we have a snack bar here on campus that is available for all kinds of opportunities to make sure you're well fed. We have a chapel program that meets the needs of all of our students, no matter what denomination or religion they might practice, or if they don't practice a religion at all. We do have chapel twice a week, and we expect everyone to go, but it is a fully open and really committed to religious diversity community here on campus. We also have an amazing commitment to community and equity, which I'm actually going to transition now to Mr. Lewis Smith, who is our Director of the Office of Community and Equity, to tell us a little bit more about that.
Thank you, Lucy. Good evening, everybody. My name is Lewis Smith. I hope you can hear me. I am the newly minted Director of the Office of Community and Equity. I've been here for about 8 years. I have been, like many faculty members here, a coach, a teacher. I still teach English. I've coached JV football, JV lacrosse. I've been an advisor. I've been a faculty advisor to the honor committee. I'm a faculty sponsor of one of the two of the affinity groups, the Black Students Affinity Group and the Mixed and Biracial Students Affinity Group. I have 3 sons who are all either attending or have attended school here, and a young daughter who is, I think, in the class of 2037. So she'll be coming along shortly. It's nice to be here and have a chance to speak with all of you. As Lucy mentioned, the Office of Community and Equity is I happen to think, because of my position, central to what we do here at school. And, our name, I think, signifies. I'm seeing questions in the chat here about how what distinguishes us from other schools and so on and so forth. And a big part of the distinction I see in my work is that rather than having DEI work as a separate sort of offshoot, separate branch of what the administration does and what the school does, it's really melded here with our sense of community. And to the extent that you can't really have a sense of community without a sense of equity. You can see on the slide here, we have sort of our three main overarching goals for the way that we pursue equity and community here. First and foremost, we've committed to creating an anti-racist community and a culture that is free from all forms of bigotry. We really want to work to foster empathy and responsibility for students in terms of themselves, in terms of other students as well, and creating an equitable and welcoming campus environment so that students are able to share their diverse experiences, their diverse views, their ideas, and all their values in a way that creates a solid foundation and a wonderful community here. We have several different ways in which we support students. I think Clay Saylor mentioned a little bit earlier the affinity groups that we have currently right now, given our demographics. We have groups for Asian students, Black students, LGBTQ plus students, Latinx students, multi and biracial students. And we also have an anti-racist group for white students who are interested in allyship in our commitment to anti-racism. We have a number of student clubs, a Young Republicans Club, a Young Democrats Club, a government club. We have an AACE, which is the Asian Awareness and Cultural Exchange Group. We have the Black Students Alliance. We have Mi Gente. We have Spectrum. So there are all these different areas where we can honor students' different contributions to our community. We've done a bunch of work over the summer with our faculty and with our students in terms of diversity training that's ongoing throughout the year. We have programming in terms of healthy relationships for our students that builds on the standard sort of relationship building that we do and gets students to focus and be comfortable talking about their differences in ways that can forge stronger relationships for all of our students. I could go on and on, as you probably are getting the sense, but I don't want to take up all the time. So I'll wait and see what questions we have and pass the mic back to Lucy.
Great, thank you, Mr. Smith. Jim and Jen Fitzpatrick, our athletic directors, I'm going to hand it to them.
Lucy, thank you. And I, for one, enjoy hearing from Lewis, so I could sit here and listen to Lewis all night, but I'll do my part. My name is Jim Fitzpatrick. I am in my 16th year at Episcopal. I'm the director of boys athletics. I am the varsity boys basketball coach. And I am also happy to have Jen Fitzpatrick, who's the director of girls athletics and the girls varsity soccer coach on the call with me. Yes, we are a team. Yes, we are a couple. We are married and we are raising our 4 children on this campus and are loving every day being here at Episcopal. The athletics at Episcopal is important because it's part of the curriculum. So this is a requirement for our students, one that we hope they enjoy. But I think they do. We have a requirement of 6 seasons for students to walk out the door, graduate from Episcopal. But really, we have over 70% of our students, 70% of our student body participating in athletics every season. So students are doing more than just the minimum, more than just a requirement. As you can see from the slide, we have 50 teams offered in 20 different sports throughout the year during 3 seasons in what we would call a typical year. I think we have top-notch facilities. And as you've heard, as the faculty have talked, 3 out of every 4 of our coaches are faculty or staff, members of our faculty. And I think that's a really important distinction because these coaches know the students both on the field, on the courts, but also in the dorm, the dining hall, and around campus. So they get to know them past of just who they are as an athlete. With 7-person athletic department with 2 full-time athletic trainers. So we have a lot of adults that are caring for these students throughout the year. And quite frankly, we promote physical and emotional health. But we also want our students to learn about sportsmanship, teamwork, and building resiliency, quite frankly, is extremely important for students today. So now I'm going to turn things over to, I believe, Mark Carter, who's the Director of Arts. And I'm looking forward, Jen and I are both looking forward to answering any questions you may have.
Thanks, Jim. My name is Mark Carter. I am the Chair of the Arts at Episcopal. I am in my 11th year here. And I'm one of those folks who live on a dorm. I serve as the head of house for Berkeley Dormitory. I am the faculty advisor to the discipline committee. I also serve as an advisor and all of the other things that faculty do on this campus. My main area, though, is the arts department. And we have really a fantastic program in our arts area. And as you can see on the slide, we offer what you would think of in the arts, from virtual arts to performing arts and digital arts, and maybe even a couple of things there that you don't expect to see. I'm a little biased in the fact that I teach instrumental music and audio engineering, and the fact that we have a full recording studio here at the campus is really a fantastic feather in our cap. But all of what we do is amazing. The thing that I think is the most outstanding part of the arts department, though, are the faculty. And the faculty are not just teachers, but they are working artists who work in the area, who have shows abroad, who work with professionals and come back here and teach students and expose students to those art forms from both the student perspective and the professional perspective. We welcome anyone, though. Many people come to school here and they may think of themselves as not an artist. Maybe you focus on athletics or you focus on academics. But one thing that we really love about Episcopal is the fact that we make space for everything. We want you to be able to try the arts. We want you to be able to try athletics and be successful in academics. So for the arts, we make arts classes during the day, a regular part of the classroom day. So you can take many of the offerings that we have here as a class. But we also jump into the afternoon option area that Jim was just talking about, where athletics happen, where you can also specialize or follow a passion, such as maybe theater, where we do most of our larger shows, or in the afternoon option area, or dance, or perhaps you want to continue to explore a particular area of visual arts or music. All of those things happen in our building with a fantastic faculty and a current facility that just amazes me every day when I go in. So we want to invite you to be part of us if you decide to come, and we're just excited to welcome you into the arts building anytime you're here on campus. And I believe I am now turning this over to the science afternoon options, which Dr. Olson?
That's correct. Thank you so much, Mr. Carter. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kimberly Olson. I am the chair of the science department. I believe this is year 17 for me here at Episcopal. I have a son who is a senior and is currently not at home, but is currently under the watchful care of Mark Carter himself on Berkeley Dorm. I'm here to talk to you a bit about the science afternoon options. We actually have 2 seasons of science-focused work that students can choose to do. In the fall, our team is competing in and preparing for the VEX robotics competition. Unlike many activities right now, which are a bit on pause because of COVID-19, we are actually preparing for competition. Both VEX Robotics and Virginia Science Olympiad have converted to a virtual format where the students will really be very much actively involved in engineering projects, which involve really extensive computer-aided design, individualized projects, and then projects which are team-based. For our VEX team, we have about a dozen students right now who are working in smaller pods of 2 to 3 and working on designing and starting to build out actual robots. Those will actually be tested in competition virtually this year. Starting up in just a couple weeks, we'll be also building into our Science Olympiad program. Virginia this year will be participating in regional competitions, and they will also they intend to have a state competition in the spring. And that will be approximately 15 to 30 students who can compete in about 22 different events. Some of those are building events. They're definitely going to be building a construction event that's building helicopters and testing helicopters at individual home sites. And then lots of events that are going to be virtual. And of course, with such an engineering focus, it's a great opportunity to continue on in this new space. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And I believe now that's the end of the afternoon options. I'll pass it back to Lucy.
Thank you, Olson. I'm going to pass it to Jeremy Goldstein, who is the director of our McCain Ravenel Center.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jeremy Goldstein. I direct the McCain Ravenel Center for Intellectual and Moral Courage. It's named after Senator McCain and honors the relationship that Senator John McCain had while he was a student here with William B. Ravenel, who was an esteemed faculty member. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what we do, but we kind of do everything. And I like to tell people that this program, the McCain Ravenel Center, which includes a team of faculty members who are committed to the Washington program, externships, service and civic engagement, outdoor leadership, leadership and ethics, and global programs. All of these things are unique signifiers for Episcopal High School that we can offer that no other school, I'm proud to say that no other school can offer. We're 8 miles from the nation's capital, and we take full advantage of leveraging that location through working with a lot of entities and a lot of partners in Washington, not only for field trip style learning, but we have a great group of faculty who really push the envelope of innovative teaching and learning when it comes to leveraging the outdoor classroom that's just beyond our gates. And you may be wondering, what's that look like right now? I'm going to share something that we did earlier this year at the beginning of the year. If you don't mind, I'll take the share. And we have a McCain Ravenel program that has pivoted to online learning right now in a combination of a couple of different things. And as the campus opens up a little bit more, we'll be able to provide more in-person opportunities. But just to give you an example of how we operate, the 21st of September, we hosted programming that commemorated our all-school read of Just Mercy, and had a formerly incarcerated activist to come speak to the school in the beginning. And then we had afternoon programming with a keynote event with a discussion between two renowned, politicos, James Carville and Mary Madeline. And then we proceeded to offer small room sessions with big decision makers from the full spectrum of the political discussion, with small rooms discussing specific political issues, the election 2020. And we're really focused right now on election 2020 programming. And what we're hoping to do is to connect with a lot of the experts. And that's really what you get when you come to Episcopal High School, is our location lends to great opportunities to connect with both immersive learning experiences and also bringing great content individuals who really make the big decisions in the world and beyond, because really Washington, D.C. is a hub for a lot of those areas. A little bit about our externship program. In the junior and senior year, in the junior year, we offer it as an afternoon activity. But in the senior year, all of our seniors finish their coursework in April, and they spend the entire month of May, whether it's remote or in person, immersed in workforce learning, which is 35 hours a week of a real job for 3.5 weeks. And we have a full program that simulates the job landing and application program for that. The McCain Ravenel Center also supports special programming, and we have a special Election Eve program coming up on November 2nd, which is going to include an interview with Mrs. McCain and a number of other high-profile guests. So where we're located and the program that we have is exceptional. And I would urge you to explore the website, but we have such a broad range of offerings that are woven into the curriculum and also woven into special events here. So when you come to Episcopal, you're not isolated. In fact, our job is to get you off campus as much as possible. And in 4 years, a student can really access Washington, D.C. resources over 100 times through our program. And that's not to mention all the stuff that they do on weekends for fun. I'd love to hear your questions, and you can also reach out to us. We have a full team of faculty members running the program right now, anytime asynchronously as well. Thank you.
All right, great. So we have about 10 minutes for questions. And while you're thinking of those great questions, I'm going to throw one that I saw in the chat to Mr. Stillwell, put him on the spot a bit. One person asked, what are the characteristics of students that really tend to thrive at Episcopal?
Well, I think one thing that's nice about Episcopal is that there isn't just one type of student that thrives here. I think because we have a well-balanced program and a lot of different directions that students can go in their journey, a lot of different types of students, I think, have a chance to thrive here, which is helpful. I do think that in a community like Episcopal, it's particularly helpful if you come with an active a significant amount of curiosity, and you're open to learning new things. And also, if you come with a curiosity about your classmates and your fellow students, and you realize that one of the most special things about our school is the chance to be here with students who come from all over the country and all around the world, and who bring all kinds of differences, and you learn so much about yourself as you're learning about your friends and classmates. And you start to learn how to bridge differences that you may have and to work together to accomplish really important and positive things as you're learning how to step up and be impressive leaders for the future.
Great. Thank you so much. Please throw those questions in the chat or feel free to ask me directly, Lucy Goldstein. While we're waiting for a few more to come in, I'd love to hear from those faculty members who have served or are serving as advisors about what do you think makes the advisor-advisee relationship special at Episcopal? I'm looking at Dr. Olson. Do you mind jumping in?
Yeah, I have to say, I think one of the things that can't be overstated is the importance of the 100% boarding attribute of our school. We are around each other in such a close-knit way. It's not difficult for me, quite honestly, to know, about my advisees' interests in class, but also, what their team that they're really looking forward to starting in the winter season, how their instrument work is going, in their third year of playing trombone or whatever it might be about them. You're passing them in the hallways and in your classroom space, but you're also seeing them when you're sitting on dorm duty. They get to know our pets. They get to know so many parts about our full lives here on campus. I also think that for the advisories, there's a massive contribution from the advisees themselves. They become advisee families, and they don't take that saying lightly. You'll hear them kind of saying, Olson fam for life, or whatever it might be. Their little saying. They use the word advisory sister and advisory brother, and they really mean it. The older advisees look at, after the younger ones. You heard that in some of the students who were talking earlier, new sophomores and new juniors who came onto campus, and there were those older students who were there and took them under their wings. We really feel that the advisor is such an important conduit of information and help for families, for parents who are at home. And we take that part of our job and that communication really seriously.
Great, thank you. Mr. Goldstein, here's a question about externships and internships, either in partnership with local universities or other ways that we get students working in our community. I'm thinking specifically about the junior year externship as a precursor to the senior year.
Great. We have a considerable database of partnerships from the last 10 years that Episcopal High School has learned to leverage that aren't only through contacts like the alumni base and the parent base, but we also have a team of faculty members who go out and literally cold call businesses and organizations for opportunities. The broad range of opportunities our students have pursued come from NGOs, which are based in Washington, D.C., non-governmental organizations, nonprofits, for-profit sector, the entrepreneurship sector just down here in Crystal City, which is where the new Amazon headquarters are going to be. And then, of course, there's Capitol Hill participation as well. So our students can work in the realms of public policy, entrepreneurship, cultural programming, and a multitude of other opportunities. We have a great partnership with Sibley Hospital and Johns Hopkins, where our students do a lot of STEM work for externships. We've had students do that as well. And then additionally, we have students who worked with Georgetown University consistently every year since I've been here for the past 7 years. So we have a great set of partnerships, and we've also forged a strategic partnership with the McCain Institute, which is the home base of the Arizona State University headquarters in Washington, D.C., which connects us with a broad range of global leaders and ambassadors and former ambassadors.
Awesome. Thank you. Ms. Fitz, as someone who has been a ninth grade advisor for a long time, there's a question here about what are the hard parts about adjusting to life at boarding school, and how does Episcopal, what are the resources Episcopal has to help that adjustment go well?
Sure. This is my 14th year advising ninth grade girls. And I think what's great about those dorm teams is most often as a ninth grade advisor, you're also on duty in the evenings with that same group. So you're not only seeing your advisees 3 or 4 times a week during the school day, you're also seeing them likely in afternoon options and then also at night on dorm. So you get a pretty real sense of what their day has been like, how their day is starting, how their day is ending. And there are so many different supports to students when they come in from that, their teachers in the day and their coaches in the afternoon. Our academic support center is absolutely amazing. I have lots of advisees who come in and might often be a little bit afraid to ask for help initially. And I think they learn really quickly that this is a place where if you're not asking for help, you're really not taking advantage of all the resources that are available. And I think as adults, we communicate a lot more often than maybe students even think in terms of trying to figure out what's going on with everybody and how we can best support them if they feel it seems like they're down or something is a little bit off. And so you get pretty used to the rhythms of some of the times that are a little bit difficult, whether that's a time approaching a holiday or sometime where homesickness might kick in, and can kind of share and trying to send students in the right direction when they need some support.
Thank you so much. Mr. Ebel, back to the question about study abroad trips. Can you describe a little bit about what our academic trips structure looks like here on campus, as well as any of the other trips that we might offer?
Sure. We just to start, I would say that we offer 7 different languages, and so in many cases that's the sort of basis of the academic trips that we take and the sort of study abroad trips that we take. But we also do a number of exchanges, and so in the past years we've had an Austrian exchange, a French exchange, a Chilean exchange, Spanish exchange, and so a number of schools that we've partnered with over the years will send students to Episcopal, and they will be here for a couple of weeks. And then our students generally go over in the summer and have a similar experience. And so there are a number of different opportunities, and not all are language based. We also have different trips during the summer. We have different service opportunities. And obviously things are different right now and things are up in the air regarding all of our trips for the coming summer. But in the past, we've done trips to Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and Kenya, all over the world. And so a number of different opportunities that present themselves, both for sort of academic enrichment, but also service enrichment as well.
Great. And I think Mr. Conklin will tell me if this is true. I think we have time for one more question. And I'm going to kick it to Mr. Carter and ask you to describe the ways that students who are really interested in the arts can get connected with arts programs and competitions off campus.
Sure. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, frankly, a lot of the people who come to teach here on campus, whether it be through private lessons or folks that we have guest direct, have a lot of ties with the outside area around the DC area, so that you can kind of connect with them a little bit. But we do this a little bit the same way that we do with athletics, because we have a lot of athletes who participate in club sports and other activities off campus. And we actually would take a look at that as a committee. We have a small committee that gets together to talk about off campus extracurricular. And what we would do is we would take a look at the time commitment and all of the things that are involved with a student leaving campus and how that will affect what you're doing here. And we do work with students to try to get them out to be able to do what they would like to do, especially with things like that might be a weekend type of event, or it depends on how the rehearsals work. I'm happy, by the way, to take personal questions too. If you would like to email me, if you have specifics on that, I'm happy to really get involved with that. But we do have a process in place where we can take a look at that.
Great, thank you so much. And I do think that is the end of our time with the faculty this evening. Thank you to the faculty panelists for your time and your wonderful expertise this evening. Thank you all so much for being here. And I'm gonna pass it on to Mr. Conklin.
Great. Thank you, Lucy. And thanks to our faculty. I think one of the things that sets Episcopal apart from other schools is the quality of our faculty. And I have two children at Episcopal, a senior and a sophomore. My daughter, Logan, had Jen Fitzpatrick as her 9th grade advisor, and now Lucy Goldstein as her sophomore advisor. And we feel amazingly blessed to have those two adults impact the life of our daughter. I'm going to talk a little bit about the application process and kind of how this year will look, and just some of the things to be thinking about. We may have a few minutes for questions. I know that a lot of them hopefully got answered throughout the session that were related to admissions, and there will be future opportunities to engage with us as well. But we do have two common applications that we accept: Gateway to Prep School or the SAO, which is the standard application online through SSAT. We don't have a preference, so you can choose either of those applications. We require 3 recommendations, so one from your principal or counselor, your current math and current English teachers. We understand that this could be a unique year for many of you in that you're learning virtually. If that is the case, we are still going to ask for those recommendations from this year's teachers, but we will open up the opportunity for you to get a recommendation, an extra recommendation from a teacher from last year that may have had you in the classroom. So you can do an additional recommendation there. We do ask for your transcript from the last 2 years. For international students, we do ask for language testing through the TOEFL, Duolingo. We also accept IELTS. We last week made the decision to go test optional for the SSAT. So we are not requiring the SSAT for any applicants. You can submit that if you do take the SSAT. We will accept the SAT and the PSAT for students who are applying for the 10th and 11th grades, but that is also optional. So if you have any questions about whether or not you would like to submit standardized testing, we encourage you to reach out to our office, and we're happy to give you some guidance there. And lastly, we require an interview, which at this point we're doing all virtually. We don't have the opportunity right now to have visitors on campus for their traditional tour and interviews. So everything that we're doing right now is virtual. We are offering the opportunity to do some campus tours with our student ambassadors. Those will be done virtually. That will start later this week. So Thursday and Friday will be the first opportunity for us to do that, where you can jump into, actually, it's a WebEx process where you would sign into WebEx, and our students are going to walk around campus and give tours, with using a phone. So we're going to experiment with that. It should be an interesting opportunity to engage with our student ambassadors and to see the campus virtually, but in action and live. So we're hopeful that will give you a glimpse into life at Episcopal as much as we can in a virtual situation. Our application deadline is January 15th, so there's still plenty of time to get your application in. Our financial aid application is due at the end of January. So if you have any questions about that, I encourage you to reach out to our financial aid director, Mr. Vincent Hodge. March 10 is our notification date. where we send out our decisions, and then families have about a month to let us know what their decision is. We are hopeful that in late March, early April, we'll be able to have a Revisit Day program on campus where students would have the opportunity to experience classes, chapel, lunch, and meet with teachers and coaches and program directors. We don't yet know what that will look like, but we're keeping our fingers crossed that we'll be able to offer that opportunity for accepted students later in the process. We encourage you to set up your interview. I know many of you have done that, and we are ready to start scheduling those. So feel free to reach out to our office to get those on your calendar. And we'll be interviewing really all the way through the end of January. So there still is time to get your interviews in. And we're going to be continuing with virtual programming all fall. So I encourage you to check our Visit Us page for information on future open houses, sessions with our teachers, our students, our program directors, our coaches, so that we can get you as fully engaged in our community and to meet as many of our students and teachers as we possibly can. So with that, I thank you for joining us tonight. It's a really big group. It's exciting. We can't wait to meet you, and we look forward to the next steps in the process. So stay safe and have a wonderful evening, everybody.